All right, 3.4, we are going to start talking about equations of lines. So we talked about slope, so now we're going to do equations, which hopefully is kind of obvious to you. That's going to be a lot about slope also. So equations of lines. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 types of lines we're going to talk about, and then we're going to do a couple of examples. So the first equation of a line, the first type, is our slope intercept form. Okay, so you are going to be familiar with these, so this should go pretty quick. All right, slope intercept form looks like this: y equals mx plus b. And the reason we call it slope intercept form is because when you look at an equation in slope intercept form, you can easily see the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, these are not trick questions when you get slope-intercept questions. They're very simple. The y-intercept, remember, is 0, comma, whatever that value of b is. Okay, and the slope is the rise over run, or the change in y, or the change in x. So we're going to draw a quick picture that goes with each one. So slope-intercept form. So here's our little graph. We're going to draw a line with a positive slope right there, and we are going to label the things on this picture that have to do with slope-intercept form. So right here is our y-intercept. That is the point 0, comma, b. This value on the y-axis right here would be b. And if we think about the slope on this graph, think about this little triangle that you've seen lots of times, right? We have some point here. So whatever this delta y and this delta x turns out to be between this point and this y-intercept, that's your slope. So delta y over delta x equals your slope. So there's a little picture of slope-intercept form. We're going to move on to our next form, which you're probably also familiar with. This is point slope form. All right, when we look at point slope form, it looks like this: y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. The reason it's called point slope form, again, is because if we look at it, we can see the coordinates. We can see the x1 and the y1. This is a point that's on the line. And then we can also see the slope. So we don't have to do anything to figure out a point or to figure out the slope. We just look at it and you can see it. So we'll draw a quick picture of what that looks like. All right, so here's our little XY plane. We're going to draw another line on it. And so we'll have a point out here. This will be point x1, y1. And you know that that corresponds to this x value and this y value. And then somewhere we'll have some other points, and we can connect those points by finding our change in y, or our change in x, or our rise over run. So keep this in your head: delta y over delta x equals m. So here's a little picture of what point slope form looks like and what it tells you. All right, the next two I'm going to put side by side because they are similar to each other. This one is going to be the equation of a horizontal line, and this is going to be the equation of a vertical line. All right, so we're going to draw just a little graph on each one. Then we're going to draw a little representation of a horizontal line, and we're going to draw a vertical line. right? They each have a point on them. All right, the equation of a horizontal line is y equals b. And b is this value right here. It's our y-intercept. So our y-intercept is 0, comma, b. And remember, our slope here equals 0. This has 0 slope. If we come over here and look at our vertical line, the equation of a vertical line is x equals a. So this is a. Our x-intercept, right? No y-intercept here. Our x-intercept is a, comma, 0. And remember, our slope in this situation is undefined. All right, so those are the 4 types of lines. We need a slope-intercept, a point slope, horizontal, and a vertical. Now we're going to do 2 examples of the types of problems that we're going to have to do, and that's going to be it. So, example 1. We're going to write it down. So write the equation of the line with slope 6 through 3, comma, -4 in point slope form. Right? So we remember point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Well, very quickly, we can see right here when it says the slope is 6, that's the m. And when it tells us a point it goes through, that's the x1 and the y1. So to answer this question or solve this problem, you just fill everything in where it goes. So we have y minus -4 equals 6 times x minus 3. And the only thing you have to do is clean up this minus negative. So this is y plus 4 equals 6 times x minus 3. And that's it. That is your line written in point slope form. Now if it said something different, like slope intercept form, well, you'd have to do some more. You'd have to distribute the 6 and do things, but you don't need to do anything. If that's what the instructions say, then just answer the question that's asked. Don't turn it into some complicated problem. All right, example 2. Write the equation of the line through 2 points here. -1, 0, and 1, 2. And slope, intercept, form. All right, so we recall slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b form. So we need to know the slope, which we don't know, and we need to know the b, which we don't know. Well, the slope is easy, right? There's a formula for it. So m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we have 2 points, so we have an x1 and a y1, an x2 and a y2, and we just use the formula. So we do 2 minus 0 over 1 minus -1. So that gives us 2 over 1 minus -1 is 1 plus 1, so 2 over 2. Well, 2 divided by 2 is 1. So 1 is our slope, so m equals 1. But now to come up with a y-intercept, we look up here, we have this point -1, 0, but that's an x-intercept, right? So the only thing we can do is go to our point slope formula, right? Plug in what we have. So we have that m is 1, so we're going to do y minus. Now our y1 was 0. We could use y2 and x2, it wouldn't matter, but we're going to use that one. So y minus 0 equals m, which is 1, times x minus x1. x1 is -1. So we'll clean this up a little bit. Y minus 0 is just y, equals, and 1 distributed in here would just be the same thing. So minus -1 is x plus 1. All right, so what we've done is written this in slope-intercept form, just like we were supposed to, right? We didn't ever have to find the y-intercept, right? We were able to put everything into our point-slope form, work our way through it, and now we have that y-intercept, which the problem didn't ask us for, but we still have it, right? So that's our answer, y equals x plus 1, and that's all there is to it.